how about if we talk about nice watches?
Let's do this.
Okay. How is Lucerne? How is your manufacturer? How is it open? Do you still have people working from home with their benches in their homes, or?
No. Production is normal. We're having now some issues with supply chains because, many people in the Jura, the ones who deliver us the little parts, etc., they didn't produce for quite some time. So this is something we feel now is happening here and there. So we need to be very innovative in finding a solution for everything.
Actually, as you were saying that, the supply chain is coming back in Switzerland, but also I know that you do a lot of the guilloche handmade. All the handmade capacity is back in Lucerne.
The guilloche, we also have a little bit of crunch on the guilloche because we have to do a lot of guilloche dials, in particular now after we showed the changing color dials, and we only have 2 people who can do the guilloche because it takes 3 to 4 years for somebody to get up to speed to do a nice guilloche.
It's one of the treasures of your production. Those guilloches are nothing. There is nothing like that. Those guilloches in the industry.
Everything has to be done, but the good thing here is the guilloche we can do in-house, so we don't have a supply chain problem from the outside. Yeah, it's we had a good start of the year, and also with the new models, and people still, despite of the COVID, people want to buy watches.
Let me add you something. How is Chronoswiss about doing real events, personal events, and how are you doing on that?
I'm going to keep on being very digital, like we just talk now to each other. But I think we still want to do some local events. I think the event's going to be smaller, probably more personal. There's some bigger events planned in the next 2 or 3 weeks where we have like maybe 20 people.
Can you talk a little bit how you feel the market in maybe Asia, Europe, the Americas? How do you feel the market in these areas?
I can honestly say that all our markets, we didn't reach the budget that we expected because of COVID, but we were doing quite okay.
It's good.
I think it's a combination of the novelties we presented. It's also a combination of the help of our partners, like Gruppo Mondi. I think we were lucky that at the beginning of the COVID, we just started our new project, getting more online. So we changed our homepage, we changed our social media channels. We started doing much more video, Facebook, YouTube, etc. And I think this was a good time.
Absolutely. How about the scale tech? There was some very good expectations about those watches, about this model last year.
For the people who are looking for this kind of watch, we were doing quite well. In particularly, younger generations of people are looking at this particular watch with the Chronoswiss DNA. For September, October, we plan the marketing very much based on the scale tech.
That's very good news because the watch is incredible to the eye, and being manual, of course, I think success will come from people just knowing the story about the watch, and it's very innovative, as you say, maybe for new generations.
Do you remember the story I told you? A friend of mine came in, a young chap of 26 years, and he said, listen, I love what you're doing. I'm not so much into watches, but I know Chronoswiss, I love the onion crown. I have an Opus, but I want to see the Opus second generation. And so I said, what do you mean second generation? Then we had this talk, and I found out that he works in the cryptocurrency industry, very successful. And he said, listen, I have this idea in mind. So we sat together for a couple of hours and we designed what he felt is the second generation Opus. So we cut off some of the lux, made it more light looking. It was interesting to see that some design aspects from the past are very active, even if in very young customers. But then we had to readapt a little bit the look of the watch.
and you'll be coming with maybe more colors and all that. And speaking about colors, well, we have seen the open gear Resec, the pink one. Actually, I didn't expect it. And now you have the black one, and then the blue one, azure. You're not lowering the expectations about new colors. You're speeding up with new colors, and I think that adds up some complexity to the production, isn't it?
Well, as you said, we do a lot of these handicrafts in-house. But then, depending on the colors, galvanization or nano coating, we work with partners who are experts in these fields, and we can do this, and that's why we're doing it, because we don't want to produce 1,000 pieces of the same watch. We produce 50 pieces and then we change.
I never expected you coming with a so strong color as pink for watchmaking. It's really, really strong. It was all in the social media, all the newspapers, everybody talking about watches. Now, I don't want to bet again, but can you talk a little bit about next colors that you are maybe planning to have?
What I have in mind, I can share with you. We're not a big company, which is so confidential, but I definitely gonna have some new colors when I come back from my holidays. So normally in the holidays, I have some ideas coming up. But one thing I can tell you already is that right now I'm very much in love with our changing color dials, like the Paraíba. So we're now experimenting on some new colors. One is probably called Jungle, which is also a green type of dial, which is changing colors from deep green into a almost blue. We're the only ones doing them, so I want to get some more experience. So the next couple of watches coming out, they will have changing color dials. We're now just experimenting on a dial which is called Namibia. I love to travel in Namibia some times back, so I love these dunes. So we're now working on a kind of a red, orange, golden color that is changing with the guilloche. And not everything can be done with galvanization, not everything can be done with enameling. So now we also use this nano coating.
Maybe, Oliver, you want to talk to us about new pieces, maybe some pieces that you have around you. If you're coming with a new interpretation of jumping hour, or you're going to impress us with something new, how do you see the second semester and pieces coming into Mexico mainly?
The pieces coming into Mexico, I think next week we have a delivery. That's what I heard. But what I have with me here right now, what I can show you, which are the novelties from Watches Wonders. The Paraíba, you remember, and that's what I mean with the color changing, you see. Shortwave pattern guilloche and the green color, which we call Paraíba, because it's like the famous gemstone Paraíba from Brazil. This combination makes this very wide range of color possible. Then we have the big wave. The guilloche is a wave, is a long wave. It's not a short wave, so it gives a very different structure. And this one we call big wave because it reminded me of the ocean. Black ice, this is the watch for the next 2 months. That's another thing apart from the colors, but it gives you a lot of depthness because we use different finishings from satinage on the hour ring to the polished bridges. We have this sand-blasted ice-like looking dial, which is coated in black DLC. And then at the same time, you have this matte looking DLC for the casing. So in total, you might have 10 different black shades. Neoprene strap for the first time, which takes up the same kind of matte finishing from the case. And I can also show you the Azure Skeltec. I think this is it's also one of our main pieces. Azure because of the color, of course. The only type of dial that is existing is this minute scale, which we have added at the very end. Because if you look at the watch as it is, there's basically no dial. It's a pure skeletonized watch.
All of the watches that we're seeing are limited to 50 pieces, right?
Most of them to 50 pieces, yes. I think it's a good number. And I don't know if you have seen the opus here, which is, we call it flag, because it's the same flag as the flag of Lucerne, blue and white. We also just launched this last month with Watches and Wonders. This is called pitch black. Pitch black because here as well we're just working with different shades in black, different finishings of the black case, of the black minute ring, and so on. The only thing which we used here are the white hands to give the watch a nice contrast, and it's nice readable during the night with the superluminova hands. You see the lightness of leaving away what's not necessary. We cut open the lux. We had to work on a 5-axis machine to get this case done.
Yeah, it's very nice. What's the power reserve on that movement? That's a manual movement. What's
about 60 hours.
More than enough.
Well, you also always want to have about 2 full days, 2.5 days. So in case you don't wear it over the weekend, you can put it on Monday again. So for me personally, I always think if somebody says limited edition and then you read 5,000 pieces, I don't know if this is limited. So we keep it with 50. For us, that's fine. And we have some non-limited ones, like our iconic pieces, not producing too much. I mean, we don't produce these many watches, so it only makes sense that we make limited watches.
How is doing the introduction that you have with the tourbillon? How is working that with jewelers and communication and all that? How do you feel with the tourbillon watch?
It was received very well. I don't think we have many left. It was only a small production of 15 pieces. The new tourbillon in a new color that we wanted to launch, and now we're already thinking about the next tourbillon color for next year. Because in the pipeline we first have a couple of new colors for the resec.
Okay.
And by the winter we are planning on having something special on the moon side. So it will be more for next March, April, next exhibitions.
Let's expect the new one. Which color are you going to choose?
As you say, if it's the winter when I have to come up with ideas, maybe we're going to have it somewhere in the whitish area.
It's been great talking to you. I know the time always is limited, but I don't know if you have something more that you want to add to the interview.
I always feel very confident being in Mexico, and thanks to you, my friends here, helping us in providing the right information and showing the watches. The only sad thing is, we cannot meet each other right now physically. So as what you said in the beginning, I'm very much looking forward for the time when we have, again, small events, when we can sit together, having tequila, of course, and a good piece of meat and talk about watches.
Thank you for your time. Keep safe in Switzerland. Thank you very much for always give time to Watches World.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the interview. Thank you, Daniela, for organizing. And now let's hope that next time we meet again, hopefully in Mexico.